Sex is the life force energy that runs through us all. Can you use sexual energy for your spiritual evolution? Or perhaps for emotional healing? Is it even possible? Clinical sexologist Dr. Martha Tara Lee will explore all these and more on Eros Evolution on OMTimes Radio.
And welcome to Eros Evolution. This is Dr. Martha Tara Lee. I'm a clinical sexologist in Singapore, and I'm from Eros Coaching. That's eroscoaching.com. And I am also on Facebook Live on my Facebook page. You can add me as a friend or follow me, and you can key in Dr. Martha Lee on Facebook, and you will be able to see us on video if you are listening to this show live right now. Today I'm with my Tantra teacher, Laurie Handlers, and today's show title is Getting to Bliss in Your Life. Today is actually episode 99, and I last had my teacher, Laurie Handlers, who's now my teacher, on episode 3. And that was a year ago, more than a year ago, when I was completely new, really nervous, and she was the most gorgeous person. And during that time, I expressed my desire and interest to study under her, and she created an apprenticeship program, which I now under. So I'm very, very fortunate to bring her back today, and she is in my bedroom. She's in my bedroom next to me, and it's really an honor. Dreams do come true. That's kind of the first message for today. So let's talk about what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about how people can have more than ordinary sex. And it is, of course, a topic of interest that we can use sexual energy to make ourselves happy and beyond. We're going to talk about how you can do this. We will also be talking about how you can use sexual energy to fuel your life's intentions. So a little bit more about Laurie Handlers. She is a film producer, sex educator, and the author of Sex and Happiness, The Tantric Laws of Intimacy. Through her company, Butterfly Workshops, Laurie Handlers offers sexual health and awareness courses, plus leadership and expansion courses for corporations and individuals throughout the world. She hosts her own radio show, which is weekly, called Sex and Happiness. And this show has been running for 10 years and counting. And she discussed all topics relating to sex and happiness, of course. And one of her erotic short stories is now featured in a new Amazon bestseller, Lovers, an erotic collection of short stories and prose.
It's not so new anymore.
Yeah.
It's about a year old.
So she has a master's in education and bachelor in psychology and sociology, and you can find her at butterflynetworks.com. So welcome.
No. Butterfly Workshop.
Sorry, butterflyworkshops.com. So yeah, it's 5 a.m. I'm still a little bit waking up. So butterflyworkshops.com. Thank you. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here at 5 a.m. We are both a little crazy, and I'm thrilled to be here.
Yesterday, Laurie did a talk in Singapore called Ultimate Sexual Health, and this weekend she'll be running 2 workshops, Bliss and on the second day, Sex, Magic, and Rituals. So tell us a little bit more about the importance of bliss in your life.
Well, bliss means just finding an ecstatic state, being able to get yourself happy, actually. And it's my belief that you can use your sexual energy to make yourself happy and enlightened. So I'm not going to say exactly right this second how to do that, but you can make yourself really happy. People use all kinds of things to make themselves happy. They drink, they use drugs, they try to buy things, they think money's going to make them happy, but actually what makes them happy is their own vital life force, which is the sexual energy. And I have a little sore throat today, so if you can't understand everything I'm saying, I'm kind of from flying around the world a lot. I just have kind of a sore throat, so I apologize for that.
So Laurie finished running Tantra Festival in India, And after this week, on Wednesday, we're going to fly back to India. I'm flying to India with her for more workshops and training.
Yes, I'll be doing an ISTA conference. ISTA, I-S-T-A, stands for International School of Temple Arts. And there's an ISTA conference for the first time ever in New Delhi, India. And that will be followed by an ISTA Level 1 training called SEX, S-S-S-E-X, Spiritual, Sexual, Shamanic Experience Training. First time ever in India. We're bringing those tools, those skills, the ancient temple arts, back to India where many people believe that they started.
Yeah. And so I'm going up to India together with 3 other Singaporeans. And we're really very excited about what we're going to learn and experience. And, well, India is a very colorful, interesting place to be in anyway as an experience. So because we're going there for the workshop as well, so with international people around, it's going to be quite an eye-opener for us. So if you're interested to find out more about ISTA, you can just do a quick Google search. That's ISTA. And if you're in Singapore and you would like to still join our workshop tomorrow and Sunday, you can go to my website to look at the description, and that's arrowscoaching.com/events. So on that page, all my events and workshops are there. Not just in Singapore, I'm also going to be in Sydney next year, January. So do check out all my events.
Can I just say something about if people are interested in, if they're in India or they're interested in coming to India, there's still time. There's still a week. And you can actually find out more if you either go on Facebook and search for ISTA India, I-S-T-A India, or the website is schooloftemplearts.org.
Yeah. So that's actually how I keep going back to the page, because there's so many things that ISTA offers. So I just key in ISTA India, and that's when the direct link pops up, and all the information is there, how to book for the conference, and also the accommodation, which is a beautiful space.
It's an eco-village right in Delhi. Very, very beautiful. And Delhi has a lot of smog these days, so this place is kind of smog-free and very beautiful. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Zorba the Buddha.
So that's the venue, Zorba. And tell us more, what made you passionate about Bliss? You know, you just described ecstatic state, and I know like your workshop is also called Bliss. Tell us more about why, how you came across this and made this part of your signature program.
Well, I didn't even know. I mean, I was kind of ignorant in terms of what I was going to get into. I always thought that sex had more to it than just two people coming together and having frictional intercourse. And so I knew there was more to sex. And then I found a teacher, and I started studying sacred sexuality. And little did I know I would be finding ways of making myself kind of high, ways of making myself really happy, ridding myself of toxins, especially emotional toxins. So I had a lot of anger in my life, and after I started studying this, the byproduct was that I got very, very happy, and I didn't have any more anger. And I mean, I really didn't know to expect that. It just kind of happened out of doing very simple practices. Tantra actually just is breathing, sound, and movement, and being present. And from breathing, sound, and movement, every time you do this, the lights do something funny. Okay. Yeah. Tantra, as I said, is simply breathing, sound, and movement, but the more and more one does the practices, the toxins that we store in the body, the things from trauma or from whatever, things that we've been holding, start to go away, and it's possible to just live a life of bliss, really. You know, to just be happy all the time and really have very few things bother you. So that happened for me. I didn't go seeking it. it found me as a result of doing very simple practices.
So notice how Laurie is talking about practices and not using the word techniques, because just like any practice, it needs to be consistent. And just like yoga or meditation, it can be a daily practice. So she talked about using breath, sound, and movement in order to get to ecstatic states.
That's really it. It's simple as that. And it's a secret. It's kind of, if you've read...
1 minute.
Oh, okay. If you've read the book The Secret, which most people seem to have read, the book The Secret, especially spiritual seekers, it talks about the laws of attraction. And I feel that it did us a disservice because it left out the whole sexual energy part. Using sexual energy is the secret. It's the secret behind the secret. If you want to have what you want in your life, you have to rid your body of things blocking you from having what you want in your life. And then you have to make kind of a landing strip so the things you want can occur.
So it's true that in our culture they don't really talk about sexual energy as part of law of attraction, and that is something that definitely listeners out there would want to pay attention to. And we are yesterday you mentioned Napoleon Hill's book,
Think and Grow Rich. And if you read Think and Grow Rich, you'll find out that those people, the very rich people who were amassing fortunes and building companies in the United States at the time, but they also, many of them were multinational, those people knew about harnessing sexual energy, and it was their secret. And still, when the spiritual people who wrote The Secret came out with the book The Secret, they bypassed it altogether. I don't know why, but maybe they didn't know.
So more about The Secret and sex after this break.
Your conscious lifestyle on steroids. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Hi, I'm Kelly Fox, host and astrologer of The Astrology Show. Each week, I'll give you access to the current transits, which are a valuable tool that provide astrological information to help unlock the potential each of us has. Understanding the stars can help steer us in the right direction to make better informed choices. So if you're wondering what's going to happen in your week ahead, be sure to tune in to The Astrology Show for guidance. Mondays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time.
Every 2 minutes, an American is sexually assaulted. The majority of victims know their attacker. It could be your friend, your neighbor, or someone you met at a party. If you said no, it's rape, and it's a crime. This is Christina Ricci with RAIN. Call the National Sexual Assault Hotline today at 1-800-656-HOPE or visit RAIN.org. That's RAINN.org.
Brought to you by RAIN and this station.
And you're listening to Eros Evolution on the OMTimes Radio Network, and you can share this show with your friends right now by going to the link omtimes.com/mobile. With this link, your friends will be able to listen to the show without needing to download any app. I'm with my Tantra teacher, Laurie Handlers, and she stars in the hilarious independent documentary Tantric Tourist, as well as the new docudrama Beyond Dinner. And I'm very, very, very honored to have her in my bedroom. For the first time, I have a guest who's sitting next to me. Usually we patch in through Skype, and that's how we connect. Never get to meet them. Here I have Laurie next to me for the first time. And it is really through Arrow's Evolution, this show, that I was able to reach out to her, connect with her, express my desire to teach, to learn with her. And so now I'm one of her apprentices. So just before the break, we were talking about how bliss essentially means being able to be in an ecstatic state. And this can help you be happy and enlightened. We also talked about how breath, sound, and movement will be able to be practices to facilitate that for you. So I'm very curious, Laurie, how you feel people can have more than ordinary sex.
Okay, well, first of all, they have to want it. So they have to be curious, and they have to want to expand themselves. And so Tantra literally means expansion through awareness. So the first piece is to get aware of how it is for you, like what's happening between you and your partner, or what kind of partner you want, or, you know, whether you're even willing to explore your own body. And once you become aware of that, then there are very simple practices for learning Tantra. There are very simple practices for practicing. And if you practice, as you said earlier on the show, over consistent time, all of a sudden you shift. It's like a paradigm shift that happens without trying. Like, you just do the practices and you start to find that you're happier. So it's really that simple. I mean, it's not earth-shattering. I can remember when I first started practicing Tantra, I would say to people, well, I practice Tantra, and they'd say, well, like, what do you do? I say, well, you do breathing practices, you make sounds, and you do movement. Well, they said, like, what kind of sounds? Well, the sounds we make are things like ooh, ah, as well as coordinating that with our Kegels, doing Kegel exercises. And they went, that can't be it. And I said, that's it. We make sounds that correspond to the different chakras, the different energy centers in the body, and sound has a tremendous effect on the body, both listening to sound and making sound. So, you know, people listen to Gregorian chants. They have something called the Mozart effect, the effect of music on the body, the effect of music on the consciousness. People have been listening to Sanskrit chants, all kinds of things for forever. And when we make sound, it's also got a tremendous effect on us. And so in Tantra, we make sound. And it's not rocket science. It's been around since before rockets.
Yes. So what happens is when I was first learning about Tantra, it was really overwhelming because there was a lot of things out there to read and to learn, and it all sounds very complicated and inaccessible. And it really wasn't until I came across a few really good teachers who made it really simple and clear, Laurie being one of the main ones. And so what she just said was that if you want to have more than ordinary sex, first you need to be curious, you need to have the desire to do so, and the second thing is to start practicing.
So, for example, I'll give you a real-life example. There are many women who come to me, and I'm sure many women who come to you, who say that they're pre-orgasmic, meaning they don't experience orgasm in the vagina, vaginal orgasm. They might experience clitoral orgasm, they may or may not, and they don't experience vaginal orgasm. And I usually say to them, are you aware of your breathing? What does that mean? When you're having sexual intercourse with a partner, are you breathing? How would I know, they say. I said, well, one of the ways you would know is if you're making sound. So if you're going, then you know you're breathing because the sound is your exhale. If you're going like this, you're holding your breath, probably you're not going to have orgasm. So orgasm happens when the body feels that the cells, and it helps the cells get fully oxygenated, and the nerve endings are happening that bring the messages to the brain saying, you know, I'm happy, I'm having orgasm. So it really has to do with breathing and letting yourself go a little bit out of control. That's a big issue.
Yeah. I think we do get caught up with being in control, and it can be challenging letting go of that in the bedroom, especially when you feel naked and you are naked and vulnerable, and you don't want to maybe appear ugly to your partner, and a lot of things that you don't know,
Or
not
silly.
sure, or silly. You're not sure what you're feeling in your body, and so you are perhaps really, like a bit from your facial expressions, or maybe even like constipated, so you're not breathing, and that's why the energy is not moving in your body. So when I first learned in my training as a sexologist that one of the things that I needed to be doing when I'm masturbating is breathe, and I was like, what? I was like, why do I have to do that? And I was like, but if I'm happy with the way I'm masturbating, do I really have to breathe more? Is that it? And I went back, of course, being a good student, tried it, breathe more during masturbation, and I actually felt more. And so what happens is we get caught up in pattern, and we get caught up with what we think works, and we think that that's the only way it can work. And what Laurie is saying is that do things that maybe you feel uncomfortable with, like breathing more, making sounds, and it's really going to change the way you feel.
Yes, this could, as we discussed last night, I mean, depending upon your culture and your upbringing, you might have to break through some really strong patterning to make sound, to assure that you're breathing, but you want to bring conscious breath to your lovemaking experience, whether it's self-love or love with another. Definitely want to do that. That's the first step. So making sure that you're consciously breathing. And I can demonstrate. I mean, there's a technique where we squeeze our Kegels. So we would squeeze our anal sphincter muscles and our pubococcygeals. And the way it's called Kegel exercises. So if you were squeezing overtly or exaggeratedly, it would look like this. You would go up as you're squeezing, and then you start to coordinate your breath. Now we can do it more subtly. So I'm still squeezing, but you can't see it. It's more internal. And then I would change the sounds to ooh, ah, 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 ooh. And then we would transmute. So we would pull the energy up, hold it, and then release really big through the mouth. And already we started smiling and getting happier. We weren't even, doing it for, 20 seconds. That's really the secret to enlightenment, and if anyone doubts that, try it yourself. Yeah.
Even as I was following Laurie doing this pelvic floor squeezes and making sounds with her, maybe not as loudly as her, like just following her, is that energy starts flowing in your body, and when you feel good in your body, you naturally feel happy. You don't have to look for something external outside of you to look for happiness. You don't have to have some big car or fancy jewelry. You just need to feel, and feeling good in your body is part of happiness. It's really as simple as it is.
It's absolutely true. But, look, we can't twist people's arms. I mean, sometimes people listen to us. They listen to me and they go, that's it? And I go, yeah, that's it. But no, that's really it. There's nothing complicated about it. There are some breaths that are more complicated than others, but even that is not that complicated. It's just what I said before. First of all, you have to know where you're starting at, and then you have to choose and say, well, do I want this? Am I really committed to having more happiness in my life? And if I am committed to having more happiness and bliss in my life, then I'm going to do it. If not, well, I guess that you remain the way you are, and many people do that. But this really is not hard.
Yeah, I find that people who are very smart, very accomplished, very much in their heads, do have resistance to doing anything that might make them feel uncomfortable. And there's this need that we tend to have to intellectualize everything before we can do it. We need to understand exactly what we're going to feel, and it needs to be logical. And it's really about doing and then feeling versus thinking and then not doing anything and then judging people who are actually doing. So what she's saying is it's a practice. You need to do it, and once you feel it in your body, you know for yourself that it's something that works for you, and that's something that nobody can take away from you.
It's a leap of faith. That's what I can say, because if you're trying to know exactly what you're going to experience or what you're going to feel ahead of time, there's just no way to do that. You could read a book about riding a bike. Actually, you could read a book about balance. And you might have the concept in your head, oh, balance, I get it as an intellectual concept, but that's not the same as being able to ride a bike. Mm-hmm. You have to actually go step by step. Someone's got to run alongside you. You have to pedal, and you do it so many times until finally, all of a sudden, the body starts to accommodate and it gets the paradigm shift. Balance. This is a body-mind phenomenon, and it cannot be explained by reading it.
Beautiful. So what you're saying is reminding me again that with practice, with repetition, it just becomes easy, and then you go into flow. And that's when you begin to feel more. And this is how, when I first met tantrikas and they would breathe and their whole body would start undulating, I was like, that can't be real. They're probably faking it. But what if they're not faking it? What if that's really what they were feeling inside? It's not for me to judge because I'm not them. And as I started doing more and more conscious breathing, started to feel more, that's when I realized that this stuff really works, and you just need to practice to get better. So we have a break, and we'll come back and talk more about bliss in your life.
Free your mind with OMTimes Radio, IOM FM. OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment, a philanthropic organization. Their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Hi, this is Julie Geigel.
And I'm Susan Schuler.
And I'm Carrie Ann Larson.
And we are
the Psychic Angel Channelers
from Angel Talk Tuesday.
Tune in every week at 10 a.m. Eastern on OMTimesRadio.com.
The angels have heard your call and are here to help.
Are you ready to receive?
Bathe in a beautiful vibrational frequency to help you heal, expand, and remember your magnificence with Angel Talk Tuesday.
What's up? This is Brad and Mike from Lincoln Park for Life Beat, the music industry fights AIDS. Listen up, times are tough and you get a lot of things thrown your way. If you're being pressured to have sex and you're not ready, then say no. If you're having sex, be smart and use protection. Respect yourself and protect yourself.
For more information, call the National AIDS Hotline at 1-800-342-AIDS or log on to www.lifebeat.org.
And welcome back to Eros Evolution. We are talking about getting to bliss in your life with Laurie Handlers. She is film producer, sex educator, and the author of Sex and Happiness, The Tantric Laws of Intimacy. And her company is called Butterfly Workshops, and you can find her at butterflyworkshops.com. She's also, of course, as I mentioned earlier, my Tantra teacher. And I have been following her work, of course, and I love her book, Sex and Happiness. It is clear. It is every chapter I'm learning new things. It is clear, as I mentioned, concise, precise, and it's not one of those things that you're going to read and start feeling overwhelmed. And earlier in today's show, we started talking about using sexual energy to fuel your life's intentions. Could you elaborate more on that?
Well, there's a whole practice or set of practices called sex magic. And sex magic is the deliberate use of orgasm to fuel your intentions. So I got to backtrack a little bit because something we didn't talk about is emotional release or emotional clearing technique. And this were not used in classical tantra. This would not be classical tantra technique from India, but in neo-tantra, we use techniques from modern psychology. And one of the things that's very big, at least in my practice, is called emotional release. I have many sets and forms of emotional release, and I use them very frequently because, as I explained before, I wasn't born like this. I wasn't born really blissful and peaceful. Maybe I was born blissful and peaceful, but my parents disagree. They say that I came out screaming no, and then I had, my own emotional rage and like that from the beginning. So I don't know how that happened. I don't know why that happened, and I don't question it anymore. It's not a problem for me anymore. What I did was I started to take on the practice of emotional release, some very specific things, and eventually I was able to have my feelings instead of my feelings having me. So the first thing is to clear a landing strip. I get clear in myself, and once I'm clear, then I set a clear intention. When I have a clear intention, chances of the intention being manifest is much greater than if I don't know what I want. So when I ask people, what do you want? Mostly they know what they don't want, but they don't know what they want. I say, well, what do you want? Well, I don't want a relationship like the last one. I don't want a boss or a job like the last one. I don't want, well, that's not an intention. An intention is what I want. So I want a relationship that's like the following. I want, and then I fill in the blanks. I want somebody I can really talk to. I want somebody that I feel best friends with. I want somebody that really gets me. I want somebody who's present. Those are the kinds of things. That's what I want. What else do I want in my life? I'm writing 2 more books. I want more books. I want to be more published. What else do I want? So I ask myself these questions, and you ask yourself these questions. What do you want, really want? And then, so you're clear, now you have clear intentions, and then you set about using your orgasm, using your sexual energy to produce or manifest these intentions by stating them or reciting them or picturing them or even hearing them. You can play them to yourself in a tape at the moment of orgasm. And you shoot the orgasm out the top of the crown chakra, at the top of your head, and you make sound. And that's a very powerful life force. It's the energies of creation. That's how we all got here. But human beings, because we have a cerebral cortex, and the rest of the animal kingdom does not have the same type of cerebral cortex that we have, we are meant to produce and manifest much more than simply babies or offspring. We are meant to be able to produce anything we want and create anything we want. We're the only species, at least on this planet, that can do that.
Thank you so much. So Laurie is talking about being clear within yourself, a landing strip. So I was visualizing the aeroplane landing strip. And once you are clear within yourself, then what you'll do is to set a clear, again the word clear, intention. Then what you do next, the third step is to add orgasmic energy, your sexual energy. And for those of you listening out there who are spiritual and conscious, sure, earlier we talked about the law of attraction. Why not sex energy? Because this is the most powerful energy that we have within our bodies. This is what we can utilize within ourselves. And since you're already setting your intentions, why not add a sexual charge to it? And that essentially is sex magic.
That's correct. And be careful what you ask for, because it shows up pretty quickly. mean, it's the same energies that created us, sexual energy. So think about it. If sex energy can create life, sex energy can create anything. Anything. And a plane cannot land in the jungle. A plane needs a landing strip. So if there are things that you want, they can't land in your life unless you clear the way. Yeah, it's simple.
Yeah. So yesterday, Laurie did a talk in Singapore, Ultimate Sexual Health, and I really liked what you mentioned about the symbol. Sewing.
Oh, yeah. So I've been told that they're in a symbol. A lot of people don't know what a symbol is. I mean, it's that little thing that people put on their finger when they're sewing, so as not to prick their finger when they're putting the needle through a piece of fabric. So I've been told that in a symbol of ejaculate fluid, there is enough sperm to impregnate a whole city or two. And so that's a very big loss of vital life force, you know. So I mean, we can make a case, but Tantra has a lot to do with men harnessing sexual energy and practicing ejaculation choice. It doesn't mean not to ejaculate, although there are probably some tantrics who believe that men should never ejaculate, but I'm not one of those tantrics. Mm-hmm. I think that men should ejaculate. It's just that when they consider how much vital life force is being thrown away by the act of ejaculation, if in fact there's enough semen and sperm in the semen to impregnate a whole city, that's a lot of life force. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the practices in Tantra, that men learn to have a full body orgasm up the spine, and different from what I guess they would call the spiritual sneeze, like
just shooting, just ejaculating.
Exactly. Now, we're both not in men's bodies, so we can't speak for men. We can't tell you exactly how it feels to shift your focus from shooting fluid out of your body to pulling energy up your body. But I've been around Tantra long enough, about 21 years, to know that men who do practice ejaculation choice are fairly happy. I mean, they're happier than men who don't. And they don't seem obsessed with sex. They've harnessed their vital life force. They've harnessed their creativity. So they seem pretty well balanced and very, very happy.
And often, because I teach ejaculation choice as well, using different techniques, and these practices need time and patience and effort. And it's very different from just taking a pill, which they often ask me for. The thing is, pills don't work, okay? They really don't work. And I know this because I get referrals from urologists who have prescribed medication to my clients, and they don't work. They don't work with helping with erection and also ejaculation if it is not of a physical condition that they have. And sometimes if they have certain health conditions, they are actually not able to take medication for erection or ejaculation as well. So what Laurie is talking about is really learning practices that does require some effort. And there are times when people say, oh, isn't that hard? That's difficult.
Or I can't do it.
I can't do
never
it.
do it.
Maybe other people can do it. I can't do it. It's not that I don't trust you. It's me. And so yesterday, I really liked what the other thing that you were sharing about the rum.
About rum?
Yeah, like acquired taste.
Oh, I was talking about scotch. Same difference. There are practices in Tantra that are acquired taste. They don't feel good at first. So what Martha's referring to is touching the sacred spot, whether it's a sacred spot of a woman or the sacred spot of a man. Better known as the G spot in women, but in Tantra we call it the sacred spot. And there is a sacred spot in men as well. And they're found inside and above. So if a person was laying down and we reached in their finger and went up, there'd be a spot that feels different in a woman, that feels a little bit spongy and more firm than the vaginal walls. Actually, the way I like to look at it is this. If you put your tongue in your mouth and you go like this,
on the side?
On the side, you'll feel very, very, very smooth tissue, excuse me, inside of the mouth. And then if you rub your tongue on the top, it's kind of bony. It's kind of more firm, stiff tissue, and this is the very same type of tissue that's inside women's vaginas, and there's also similar tissue inside the anus. And for the anus of men, that's where the prostate is, and that's where the sacred spot is. So just touching it with no preparation is not a good thing. It doesn't feel good, and I mean, it could be a little bit dangerous. I mean, I don't want to scare anybody, but it could feel like tremendously tense, especially for men trying to find out what's going on in their anus. That's a very disowned part of the body. Men are afraid to have pleasure often in their bodies there because they are afraid that if they have pleasure there, that makes them homosexual, and that's simply not true. That is where a lot of hidden nerve endings are, and there's an ability to develop an acquired pleasure, like when you started to taste rum or scotch. It didn't taste good at first, and then all of a sudden you acquired a taste for it. So finding the sacred spot in either gender and beginning to stimulate it is something that requires some time, some presence, some patience, a lot of lubrication, and it's worth it. So there's tremendous benefits to having those areas stimulated.
Thank you so much. So I really appreciate what Laurie is sharing, and we'll come back more after this break to wrap up the show.
Bringing you the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio, your conscious lifestyle on steroids. The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls Project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill, while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
Come heal yourself. What is healing? Healing is nothing but connecting with your all-knowing higher self that already has solutions to all your problems and is always there to guide you. Through this show, we help you to connect with that you are and tap into that innate potential you have to transform your life and fly high. Please join me, your host Monica Goyal, every Sunday, 7 p.m. Pacific. Namaste.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
To get in the way before it happens.
To get a friend home safe.
And to not blame the victim.
It's on us.
To look out for each other.
To not look the other way.
It's on us to stand up.
To step in.
To take responsibility.
It's on us, all of us,
to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
Time flies, and this is the last 15 minutes of today's show. We're talking about getting to bliss in your life, and so far in today's show, we talked about how you can have more than ordinary sex. We talked about how you can use sexual energy to make yourself happy and beyond using breath, sound, movement practices. And we also talked about using sexual energy to fuel your life's intentions. And just before the break, Laurie Handlers, my guest, and also my Tantra teacher, was talking about using a sacred spot massage to have more pleasure in your body. And one of the things that I was really drawn to yesterday night in her talk in Singapore was this analogy of the drinking of scotch, because like she mentioned, it's an acquired taste. Something that you start off not feeling very comfortable with or not even really liking, it doesn't mean that you cannot learn to like it over time. And it's a little bit similar to sushi. When I first had sushi, I thought it was tasteless. And over time, I started to really like sushi. And
it brought you great pleasure.
And great pleasure. Doing this show is now pleasurable. During the first few episodes of Arrow's Evolution, I really thought I was so bad, and in fact, I have improved a lot since then. And it just came with practice, with confidence, and not giving up. It wasn't an option to give up, because it took me time to set things up, and to give up is actually to just kind of check out of life. And Laurie has her own radio show for the last 10 years, and it's called Sex and Happiness, and previously it had a different name.
Yes, I had a different show. It was called Tantra Cafe, and that was a great show. I did that for, I don't know, 4 years maybe, and then I wanted to expand to other things about sex. I felt like Tantra was too limiting at that point. I had interviewed almost every Tantra teacher, and they pretty much said similar things. And so I was like, okay, how can I stir it up for myself? Mm-hmm. So I changed the name of the show to Sex and Happiness, and that gave me a broader array of guests and people that I could interview about all different subjects having to do with sex and happiness. And so I just haven't turned it back.
Yeah. So I really respect Laurie, because she's been doing this her shows for 10 years, and she's interviewed everybody worth knowing. And even before I was training to be a sexologist, I came across your work, and that was when I thought it would be such an honor one day to meet you.
Here we are.
So even though this was like so long ago, before I was even a sexologist, I was already looking up to her. And then she came on this show in episode 3. That's how much I loved her. And that's when I expressed my desire to study with her. I'm so happy.
Yeah, the rest is history.
Yeah. She's now in Singapore, in my bedroom, sitting next to me. I can poke her if I want. And it's really dreams do come true. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Dreams come true. And remember what she said just now. Have a clear landing strip. Be clear within your body. Have a clear intention. Add orgasmic energy. And you never know. Magic does happen.
I'd like to actually clarify something. You keep saying that we're in your bedroom. So I want to say that this is your bedroom studio. We're not like in your bed. We're actually sitting at your desk, which you have an office and studio in here. And so,
Yeah, just to be clear. This is also my office. Yes. Yes, so my bedroom come office.
It transfers in a moment into a different thing.
Kind of like, yeah. Yes, very important to talk about that. Yeah. And so, yes, we're talking about the scotch. Yes, so yesterday when she mentioned this, I was very touched, actually, that the men in the group got it, and they were nodding their head. And that's why I brought it out. I hope that listeners get something out of it as well, that just because you don't like something at first, it doesn't mean it's not going to shift and it's not going to change. I think we give up too quickly, and we give up sometimes the first time we try something. So give it a few times, and you get more comfortable into it, and that's when you actually start feeling.
Well, what I've found is that men think they can't do it. Like if we say, okay, I say, take 21 days with yourself to self-pleasure or masturbate, and it's not either or, they're the same. I just like to I like to call it self-pleasuring. So to self-pleasure and for 21 days and see how it is to not ejaculate, to not release fluid. And when you do that, after 21 days, you form a new habit. So then you have a choice in your body, whether you want to ejaculate or not ejaculate, rather than trying to just hold off. Men have told me crazy things since I've been teaching Tantra. Men have told me that when they're having sex, they think about ball games, like they think about the World Series. They think about the Super Bowl. They think about all these things. Now, women don't necessarily know that. They don't know that the man is thinking of these games. I know that I wouldn't want to be with a partner who was thinking about that. I want their presence. I want them to be present to me. I don't want them thinking about something else. So it's really a gift to be present. It's really a gift to be present. And if you train your body to have the choice about whether to ejaculate or not, then you've already stepped to a higher level, because you now have the ability to be present and to let your body choose what it needs, rather than this have to release, like the addiction to release. So
yes,
I don't know. I mean, it's a little esoteric for talking about it.
Yeah.
It's listen, people should come to class. If you come to class in Bliss, you learn the techniques, how to do it. And even if you can't come to Singapore this weekend and be with us, I have my class, an MP4 of it that people can actually order online, and you can start to make your body a vehicle, a vessel for pleasure, and give yourself what's your birthright, which is pleasure in the body.
Love it. Yes, there are many ways that you can learn nowadays that was unavailable 20 years ago. You can come for a workshop, which is experiential, in-person, live, for those people who are more kinesthetic. And then there's audio files. There's also videos, DVDs that Laurie has, and books that you can read, and movies that you could watch. So there are many ways in which you can start learning things. And
Skype sessions.
Even Skype. I was having supervision with Laurie through Skype. And you can find her at butterflyworkshop.com.
Find me. Find me.
Yeah, find her. She's very approachable. And one of the things that I've learned over the last few days hanging out around her is to genuinely have a love for people.
I do love people. I love people sometimes more than they love themselves. That's crazy, isn't it? But, whatever. I see the real inner strengths and inner depths of people that sometimes is hiding. Maybe they don't even know that they are that, and then I see it, and then there's no mistake. They meet me, and then all of a sudden they get this little glow.
Yeah.
That it grows bigger.
Yeah. So this love for people, I feel also comes from a place of compassion. And Laurie has plenty of it. Like, she's even talking to people sitting next to her on the plane and trying to help them. And it's like, why are you doing this? Like, you're still working. And it's like, this is not separate. Like, this is her life. This is who she is. It's like, wow, there's no off button for this woman.
No, there's not an off button. I do eat, breathe, and sleep. It's who I am. Yeah. It's consistent.
And so if you're interested, you can learn from my teacher, whom I greatly respect, Skype, workshops, and you have a fantastic website. So what happens when people subscribe to your mailing list?
Well, first of all, they can go on my website and get lots of free material and downloads, and also they can listen to the radio show, which has lots of information. And when they subscribe to my website, then they get my newsletter. I send out a newsletter about every month and a half, and that's to say where I'm going to be on the planet at any given time, where they can come meet me. Sometimes I'm just hanging out in New York City. And I say I'm going to be in New York City at the W Hotel from 3 to 6. If you want to come have tea, come have tea. So I let you know where I'm going to be and when I'm going to be there, and you can come hang out with me and just hang out. So, and then there's lots of other information. There's just things that I write about. I also blog, and you know, there's incredible ways of getting information these days if you want it. And that's the thing. Do you want it? We can't make you have it, but we know that there are people out there who are hungry for it, and all they have to do is turn on.
So we're going to have a Bliss tomorrow, 3rd of December, and we're going to have Sex, Magic, and Rituals on the 4th of December. Then we're going to India. I'm going to be there from the 7th to the 19th of December, where we're going to have the ISTA conference in India for the first time, followed by the ISTA Level 1 training.
SSSEX.
Yes.
Spiritual, sexual, shamanic experience training. And I'll be leading that along with Andrew Barnes from Australia and Estera Saraswati from Poland.
So, like we mentioned earlier at the start of the show, that if you would like to join us in India, because I'm going, then you can still make reservations for it. And if you're interested in ISTA, you can always look it up. Laurie is one of the lead faculty members.
I am. Let me just say something about traveling to India. You need a visa. It takes about 24 hours to get one. If you want to be there, get one now.
So thank you very much for coming on to today's show. And next week I'll be doing it from India.
Yay.
Namaste.
Namaste.